Hi everyone, it's Mindy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be creating this card where I'm using ink blending to add dramatic contrast to my die cut pieces. This video is a part of a video hop celebrating the brand new release from Altenew. So we have some giveaways for you. Be sure to leave a comment down below to be entered into this huge giveaway. And being that it is a hop, I'm going to have a link to the Altenew YouTube channel and also the next person in the video hop. So be sure to check that out down below in the video description as well. The set that I'm going to be using today is one of my favorites out of the December release, and that is using the Feathered Beauty. So this creates this magnificent blue jay, and inside we have all of our dies that we need, plus they are labeled on that acetate sheet. And of course, these also have like an embossed area on the design, so you know what pieces they are as well. Now, while using the Altenew colored cardstock would be an excellent choice here, I really wanted to do ink blending because I wanted to be able to kind of customize each feather on my own. So I went ahead and die cut everything out of white cardstock. And now I can start my ink blending using the Glacier Caves ink bundle from Altenew. I'm going to start with my tail feathers, and the first color I'm using is Caribbean Sky. So this is actually the second color in this layering ink set. I do really love using their ink collections because they're already kind of customized to be from lightest to darkest, but of course you can always mix and match. So I'm starting with a small blending brush, and what I'm doing is starting where the keyhole layering system is. You can see there's like an arrow or something there. I can't remember which shape it is. And then I'm fading off to white as I get towards the tip of the feathers. I'll then come in with the next darkest color and a mini blending brush and just start once again on that kind of keyhole area and blend off or fade off so that it's going to show I'm getting darker up towards the part that's going to layer and then fade off as I get towards the tip of the feathers. And I'm pretty much going to be repeating that same type of process through the rest of the feathers. It's just sometimes I'm going to go really, really light-handed like I am here. So it's a very, very faint blue. And sometimes I'll really kind of jazz it up by bringing in darker shades. Now, one tip that I do have for you when it comes to layering the die cuts is, for one, Altenew provides a great step-by-step a visual in their pamphlet so you can see how it layers together. But I also do one out of just plain white cardstock. When I'm not sure how things are going to layer together or what's going to be on top, a lot of times I will just die cut out of white cardstock, and then that's going to give me a really great idea of how much color I need to add to a specific area. For this particular die set, it is the keyhole system, but what it is 3 different shapes between the different layering options. The different shapes that you're going to find is an arrow, a snowman or a keyhole, and then also like an upside down T is what I call them. And they do have that shown on the back of the packaging as well. And that's just going to help. So some of the areas have one shape for the tail, one shape for the feathers, and then one for the body. So it's really, really easy to assemble these. Now, on the body of the blue jay, this is where I really step things up and come in with the darkest color and a detail blending brush or the smallest blending brush and really just go around those outer edges with that darker color. That's really going to, in my opinion, make this look really majestic, especially with this royal blue color combination. Then after I have everything ink blended, I am going to start working on the assembly, starting with the tail feather. So I am using the guide that's on the back of the packaging. There's 2 pieces to the tail feather, so you can see how they layer together and look pretty fluffy. And then we have 2 sets for each side of the wings. And this is also going to make it look really full. Now, there's also going to be a die piece that's going to be added to the tail feathers. It's like a white piece. That is up to your discretion if you want to add that or not. When you have the ink blending, you kind of have that control. And those white pieces would be really helpful if you had die cut out of colored cardstock. For the gluing, I am just using a precision tip glue press to add my glue and adding the glue mainly where the keyhole layering system is until I get to the body, which is where I add glue to the entire backside of that. Then for the head, we do have some additional layering pieces to give it that what do we call it? Like a mask on their face is kind of what I think. And then there's some smaller black pieces, which is going to be for the beak and the eye. And I like to use my pickup tool to do this. That wax tip really comes in handy when picking up those small pieces. Any of the supplies that I'm using today will be linked down below in the video description as well. And that is where I'm listing the giveaway information, the Altenew YouTube channel, and also the next person in the hop. So don't forget to check that out down below. Just click the more button so you can see the entire video description. And then be sure to leave a comment so that you are entered into this fantastic giveaway. Now, these are the additional white pieces that I had mentioned earlier that you can add to the tip of your feathers. I did add mine, but of course, because of the way I ink blended, I actually really didn't have to because I did have it kind of fading off to white. I'm just finishing up the last final touches of my tail, and then I'm going to show you another one I did, which is almost the exact same thing. I did practice one ahead of time, and that's where I decided that I really wanted to include this blue jay in a video because it was just so stunning in real life once you do all that ink blending. There is also a die set included in here that's going to create some leaves and some flowers. So I'm going to do some quick ink blending for this as well. And the ink bundle I'm using for this is the Forest Trail set. I started out with just kind of a light wash of color on the leaves, and then I can come in with a smaller detail blending brush and add some shadow areas. So I believe I started off with that matcha tea and then coming in with that sweet green, I think it is at the top there. They're all included in that Forest Trail bundle. So I just picked a light color and a dark, no, I think that's swamp green. Sorry, swamp green. And then added that darker shade to one side of the leaves. There are some flowers as well, but I didn't end up using the flowers in my finished project. To create the background, I'm using a piece of white cardstock that is cut to 3.5 by 4 3/4. I really wanted to have a thick white border kind of framing this scene that I was going to create. And I'm starting with a large blending brush on one side of my card piece. And this is going to be, I think it's the Arctic color. It is the lightest shade in that Glacier Caves set. It's going to be kind of hard to see on camera because it is a pretty light color, but after I did that about halfway down, I flipped the cardstock to the other side and blended with a light shade of green. And then I went back to my blue and added just a smidge darker of color towards the top. Because it was almost too light of a color, and I felt like if I went too dark with my blue, then I would kind of lose the blue jay. Then I'm going to stamp a sentiment. So I lined up a sentiment that comes off of the Craft Your Life project kit for December 2025. I did use the blue jay as a guide. And then once I had my sentiment lined up, I removed the blue jay and I'm going to stamp it in obsidian black ink. Now I realize later on that the sentiment is actually crooked. And for right now, I am going to blame that on my brand new glasses that I just got. So for now, I stamped the sentiment using my Stamp Wheel 2.0. And then there is a larger sentiment, the word friend, that I'm going to use. I'm also stamping this in the obsidian ink. This has a coordinating die, which I absolutely love, and I'm going to cut it out with the coordinating die, and then I'll also die cut out about 2 more pieces from that white cardstock and layer it together to create stability and also a little bit of dimension. Off screen, I created a side folding card base and I took a piece of white cardstock that is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I added a tape runner to that card base and then I can attach that white piece of cardstock because I want to make sure my whites match. That's really important to me when I'm doing my die cutting or my card, the front of my cards is I like to make sure my whites match. Then I'm adding foam tape to the back of my blended panel. I'm going to place it on top of my card front so I have that nice margin or that nice white margin going around the edge. I also added foam tape behind my blue jay. You can see the word friend there is just kind of placed to make sure that that it had enough room with the wings, the way the wingspan comes out. And then I added my bigger sentiment here, and this is where I realized I was crooked. Again, I'm going to blame that on my brand new glasses. So I just made sure that that lined up straight with my sentiment that I already stamped. I was originally going to leave that and not add any greenery or the flowers, but I felt like there was just almost too much open space there underneath the sentiment. So I'm bringing in the green leaves after, of course, I attached everything. And I'm going to, for one, I cut it, so I have 2 pieces. And then I'm going to add liquid glue to the back and just kind of tuck it in around my blue jay down there at the bottom and then also at the top. It did look really good just having that white open space there. It is very clean. It really gave the focus on the sentiment and the bird, but I felt like I just needed to add a little bit of something there. And then that is going to finish off my card project. I was blown away by this die set. It is such a majestic bird. And when you add that dramatic ink blending to the edges, it really just takes everything up an entire notch. I hope you all enjoyed today's video and inspiration. Again, I will have all of my supplies linked down below in the video description, along with links to the next person in the hop. Be sure to leave a comment to be entered into the giveaway. And thank you all so much for joining me today.